This week is Feeding Tube Awareness Week, and over the course of this week, I will share different educational videos about feeding tubes. And today we are covering the basics. A feeding tube is a small, flexible tube that provides nutrition when a person can't sustain their nutritional needs by themselves. This can be due to different reasons: disorders of the esophagus, eating disorders, or GI issues. There are two main types of feeding tubes: gastric feeding tubes and post-pyloric feeding tubes. Gastric feeding tubes feed into the stomach and are mostly used when a person can't eat, but there is nothing structurally or functionally wrong with their stomach. Post-pyloric feeding tubes sit in your intestines, and they provide nutrition if a person can't digest through their stomach. The other main distinction in feeding tubes is the type of tube it is. There are nasal feeding tubes and there are surgical feeding tubes. They serve the same purpose. Nasal tubes are just usually used for temporary tube feeding, while surgical feeding tubes are used more long-term. Nasal feeding tubes usually include NG and NJ tubes. N stands for nasal. The G or J part just stands for whether it's in the stomach or in the jejunum. These tubes can be placed quite easily, either at bedside while the patient is awake or in endoscopy. Surgical feeding tubes like mine are indicated when a patient needs tube feeding long term. I have the secret third option of a feeding tube. I have a tube that allows me access to my stomach and my small intestine at the same time. For me, this is indicated because I need to drain my stomach of stomach contents that sit in my stomach for a long time because my stomach doesn't work properly. Feeding tubes are life-saving medical devices, and using them in public should not be stigmatized in any way.